Hey, I'm Eric. I'm listening to 100 albums in 100 days. For all the details on what I'm doing and why, check out the video pinned in my profile. Today I listened to the 1979 album Spirits Having Flown from the Bee Gees. Here's the reason why this album was on the list. So if you watched my video about the Grease soundtrack, I mentioned that at that time in the late 70s, I lived in a little town in southern Oklahoma named Duncan. Well, the big thing in Duncan when I was 8, 9 years old was for my, people in my age, classmates. We had skating parties at the skating rink, and I remember a Bee Gees song that was played at the skating rink, and I liked it so much that somehow I talked my parents, probably my mom, into buying me the 45 single of the song, and it was Tragedy from the Bee Gees, and it was on this album. But I remember hearing that song. I mean, I went to several skating parties in that time frame, like when I was 9 years old, late in my 9-year-old year, whatever you want to call it. I remember this song being played at the skating rink a lot, so I had my mom. I guess I'm pretty sure because my dad would never have let me buy it, so it had to be my mom I talked into it. But I had the single, the 45 single of Tragedy by the Bee Gees. And when I was making this list, I remembered that, and I decided to listen to the entire album. So that's the reason I listened to it. Tragedy is the first song on the album, and I still like it. I listened to it this morning. And I remembered just about, all the words. I probably had a lot of those. I remember the cadence of the words when I was listening to the song. I haven't listened to that song since I was 9 or 10 years old. And so I still remember the cadence, and being 53 now, I realize that I had no idea what the words were when I was 9 years old. Liked that song. I liked, so here's the thing. I think people get hung up on the fact that the Bee Gees were disco, and I think the big distraction in their music is it's just how inhumanly high their voices are. It's very distracting trying to listen to songs when they're that high. With that said, though, if you can get past that, they write some good songs. I mean, I listened to the album all the way through. And they're just some of them are cheesy 70s disco songs, but some of them were actually quite good. Too Much Heaven is a great song. Tragedy is a great song. There's another one called Satisfied that the voice is a little annoying, but it was a great song. The actual title track of the song, Spirits Having Flown, the title track of the album, is a good song too. I'm telling you, I think people don't give them a fair shake because of just A, their voices, and B, they'll forever be tied to disco thanks to Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Fever. I think they'll forever be tied to disco because of that. And there's a documentary about them, and I don't know where it is. I saw part of it on YouTube several years ago. In fact, it was during the pandemic when we were in lockdown. I'd been watching this string of music documentaries and just happened to start watching theirs and then never got back to it. But they have a whole catalog before disco, and it wasn't disco. I mean, it was like normal music, and listening to this today makes me want to go find that documentary and watch it in its entirety, and then go check out some of their old catalog. They have a song called I Started a Joke that one of my favorite bands, Faith No More, Mike Patton, I've talked about them when I listened to their album. Mike Patton sings that song, and I've always loved that song, and it makes me, and that plus listening to this and remembering the documentary that I started makes me want to go back and watch the documentary and listen to some of their back catalog, because this album was not that bad. It's hard to listen to at times, but it's not that bad. I think they just get a bad rap. So, is the album worth listening to in its entirety? Probably not. The first three songs, I guarantee you, are worth the listen. I wish I could remember their name. I know Tragedy is the first one. I know Too Much Heaven is the second one. And for the life of me, I can't remember the third. But I can't remember it, sorry. But I can tell you the first three songs are worth the listen. And if you listen to it, listen to the first song, listen to Tragedy, and think of 9-year-old Eric skating around the skating rink. But yes, there are parts of it that are worth listening. The whole album is not worth it. Those three are. Title track is worth it, and a song called Satisfied is worth it. If you listen to it, all right. Let me back up. If you have experience with their older catalog, let me know. I want to know what there is to listen to because I'm genuinely curious. If you listen to part of this album, let me know what you think. Let me know if it was hard to get through. After I started listening to it the second time through, I could kind of ignore the high voices and just listen to the songs. So let me know if you get there. And then if you're a person that does so, and you have the means, find some place and donate some money to Maui because they need us.